Hello, everyone. Welcome to Contact Lost, the Polish podcast about Warhammer 40k and the competitive scene both in Poland and abroad. I'm your host, Tweak, and today with me I have my co-host, Joker.
Hi guys.
And today we're going to be discussing probably one of the most debated and heated releases of codexes in the recent times. The codex that was supposed to break the meta, the codex that was supposed to change it all, one of the most anticipated codices in the recent past. We're going to look at it from the competitive point of view and to give us their accounts of how the codex plays and is it good, is it bad, is it ugly. We have Vladdi
Hi, hi
and
guys.
Typhus.
Hello.
Hi, lads. Thanks for joining. So both of you are seasoned players using different flavors of Eldari, Inari in the previous edition, Harlequins. You've done it all. Joker also proficient with Drukhari. Now switching to Eldar, so it seems. So I have three tremendous experts to talk about the new codex. Before we get to that, let's just maybe quickly summarize. Vladi, what have you been up competitively? What have you been up to competitively in the recent time? What have you been experimenting with? What have you been doing?
Actually, I was taking a break a bit. I'm get a bit. I started to be a bit fed up with 40k, with meta, with the way the Games Workshop, tries to balance the game, if you can even call it like that. I find the game to be unbalanced and boring at times. So I made a short break from playing, a short break from international sparrings. Now I'm getting back into it slowly with a new Eldar release. So I played a few games with new Eldars now. I'm thinking about taking Gen Zero Colts to next big tournament. I'm getting into all that again now.
So Stampede no more.
Well, I'm saying, I just said I'm taking a break. Like
Mm-hmm.
I won a tournament like I don't know a month and a half ago with Stampede. Uh, Stampede suffers a lot if you want to play a stable game, meaning if you can't win the game in one or in two first turns, then you start to struggle a lot with Stampede. You don't have small units that are capable of good trade-offs.
Yeah.
You don't have small units you can sacrifice. So if your initial hit doesn't break the enemy, then you start to suffer. And with new chapter approved, the cost of those most hitting units increased. That means that the hitting power in the first two turns kind of got weaker, and
Yeah.
because of that, the Stampede is not as powerful as it was
As it used to be.
2 months ago. Moreover, the inclusion of new armies since 2 months ago also changed the balance for Stampede a bit. It's simply got worse. There are armies that better counter it now. Now with Harlequins, with Eldars, previously with Kuston Tau, all those four armies have all the tools to deal with Stampede.
Yeah, they have a lot
And
of answers.
because of that, I'm still thinking about it. I will probably prepare 2000 army to be battle ready, but not in like month in the next month, because well, we all know that there is a Tyrannid Codex coming. So thinking too much or investing too much time in preparing Stampede army
Right now.
with those CA changes is pointless now,
Yeah.
because everything can change with new codex. So it's not worth to invest time and money into building up the army now.
All right. Typhus, same question to you. What have you been up to recently? More playing, more planning, more scheming. What have you been doing?
Well, let's say I was after the last tournament that we and Vladdi played at. Vladdi was first, I was third. I got fed up with the game as well. Like I played Drukari then, and I felt dirty. And now I wouldn't feel as dirty with Drukari as I would feel with Harlequin. So that's just like foreshadowing of what I will talk
Yeah,
about
let's not get
later.
ahead of ourselves, but
But
yeah.
yeah. I've been more trying to keep up with what's happening, but I didn't feel like playing with the new armies. So I was just looking over what guys are playing, what guys are thinking about, and trying to keep up to speed when it comes to team composition. So we had like 3 international matches lately. So I've been doing more of that and trying to see how the meta actually changes without myself checking out the meta. So yeah, I I would love to play Drukari or Harleys nowadays, but we'll see. I kind of don't like both armies with how they play right now, so it's a tough moment for me.
Okay. So yeah, by the way, to our listeners, if you are interested in how the international sparrings on TTS went, let us know in the comments because we might actually make an episode about that. But well, yeah, we want to hear from you if that is something that you would be looking forward to. Joker, how about you? You've been quite successful recently, and you have been tinkering with the elves as well. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, I've actually been playing quite a lot, contrary to what our guests here have mentioned. Or I wouldn't call it too much of a success. I mean, I also had the chance to participate in one of those sparrings Typhus mentioned, although my game didn't go pretty well. So that's that. Still got quite a lot to learn. So I don't think you should be putting me alongside Typhus and Vladdi as an expert. I'm more of a, the rookie that wants to absorb what they've got to say rather than
Yeah, you're tagging
give.
along.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and yes, I have been trying the new Craftworlds, at least so far only the Craftworld bit of the Eldar Codex, mainly because I got kind of bored with Drukari. And I think that's also probably the best way to just understand what the faction's capable of and just trying to play some games with it. And then it's easy to understand what it can do and how you can counter it if you're playing something else. And with the wonderful quotation tool that is TTS, that is easier than ever.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for that intro. Now, guys, what we're going to do is we're not going to do a book review because ain't nobody got time for this. What we are going to do is we're going to get the account from Vladdi, Typhus, and Joker on probably what works best in the book. So we are going to firstly look at clear Craftworld Eldar. Oh, sorry, pure Craftworld Eldar. Then we are going to jump to Harlequins. So yeah, let's get right into it. So I'll start with Vladdi. In our pre-show conversation, you said you had a chance to take them for a spin. You had a chance to try them out. You also had an opportunity to discuss this with like top players in Poland on Discord with Typhus, with Duda, other guys who are sporting Eldar and are quite familiar with them. What are your impressions? And maybe, can you tell us what would be your top picks for now from the Codex?
Okay, first, unlike Harlequins, which Typhus will talk about in a minute, Craftworld Eldar seem to be a reasonably balanced army. The Codex is strong. It has many interesting options, a lot of useful units, but at the same time, it doesn't seem overpowered. It seems powerful, very powerful, but not overpowered. I don't think it is gonna break meta. I don't think it's gonna dominate tournaments. It is gonna be in the top. There's a huge possibility some big tournaments across the world will be won with Craftworld Eldars, but I don't think. it's gonna be like it is now with Tau and Custodes. It's not gonna be like that. It's very much on a reasonable level with a few very hard-hitting units, but at the same time it struggles a bit at some areas. It has expensive transports that are very vulnerable to fire. the Craftworld transports cost like I don't know, 150, 170 points, and there are defensively weaker than Harlequin boats. So there's that. Anyway, there are a few interesting Craftworlds to pick from the book. The main two we've been talking in our community the most are Ultwe and Bieltan. Ultwe is more of a toolkit because its army trait gives you a number of different boosts, while Bieltan is simply designed to kill, as it gives you a simple rerolls and the access to more rerolls. So those two are the most crafters that we the most look at the moment, while the rest are okay as well. Probably at this time, with the book being so fresh, those two most obvious options come to mind first. But I think with time we may see some other Craftworlds also being looked at. So, but at this time it's Bieltan and Ultwe. Ultwe gives you the boost to your magic phase, to your psychic phase. It gives you one real to wound. It gives you very important 6+ invulnerable save, which you can use to save your units using Strands of Fate, the new army-wide rule for Craft of Eldars. That 6 is very important because you can, with Strands of Fate, you can use those the 4 out of 6 dices that you roll at the start of every round. And if you roll 6s with those dices, you can use those dices to get automatic 6 out of the roll. So if you have 6+ invulnerable save, you can just use this dice to get automatic 6 on that save and save you from Darklands or something like that. This is extremely important mechanic, and that makes Ultwe very useful in the Codex. But at the same time, Bieltan has everything useful that is Craftworld specific. It has a very useful stratagem. It gives you exploding 6s on aspect warriors. It has a very useful relic that gives you real of psychic powers, and it has a very useful trait that gives you one chapter master rule to a core unit. So also a very useful Craftworld. In terms
okay,
of
wait a second. Let's ask Typhus maybe if about his first impressions, because for now we are still focusing on those first impressions, and then we will get into the nitty gritty of it. I would like to hear what Typhus and Michał also have to say. So, Typhus, your first take on the Codex. We're talking pure
Craftworlds. Okay, so there is one Craftworld that we will never see, and that Craftworld is named Inari. So we've got that out of the way. So I'm glad we've done that. And about the rest of the Codex, I won't lie. As I said, I'm trying to keep up with the meta, but when it comes to deeply understanding armies, I try to focus on one. So I didn't really look into Eldar. I trusted Vladdi and do that to dissect that army to the smallest pieces and actually figure out something. So I won't lie, I haven't even read the rules. I was
that's fair.
Those guys will know, and at some point I will watch their games and I will know what's needed. With how much rules bloat we have in the game, I can't afford to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
So
So let's take a second to laugh at Pumba because he has to, but we don't. So Joker, a question to you. We played a game yesterday. My Tyranids versus your Eldar. You chose Ultway. You had an army composition from your previous game with Danny. You had a specific army composition. You didn't take many of the brand new toys that they received, like the new, I don't know, Avatar or the Rangers on bikes or something like that. So what drove, or what was the reasoning behind your choices, and how did you enjoy it?
Well, I wanted to just give a spin to some units, test how they fare, and most importantly, I wanted to see if it's needed to maximize the potential you can get out of Strands of Fate. So I did specifically build around that. So, like Vladdy mentioned before, that you roll 6 dice and you get to keep 4 of those as automatic 6s on relevant rolls. With the tools I took in the list, you actually get to roll 7 dice, keep 5, and re-roll 2 of them in the meantime. That is in the most preferred scenario. And yeah, I mean, that mechanic is just it's really great, especially the automatic 6 on charge roll. It's a blessing.
Yeah, it could be a game changer. But again, would you say now, having played 2 games with them, that this is a broken mechanic, or is it something that actually, gives them the edge and makes them competitive and should, remain like that? Because it feels like Miracle Dice, taken to the next level. But is it too much, or is it just right?
I mean, it's hard to be objective for me at this point. Like you said, I've only played 2 games, and I mean, it's really good, and there's no denying it. Is it broken? I mean, it's still a little bit random, although you usually get what you need. So I don't know, it's just right, fair.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll just comment. I won't have much to say about Eldar apart from the fact that I really didn't feel overpowered yesterday. I felt that you played great, and it was more about the pilot than the army. Uh, and what the Eldar do to me just seemed mildly infuriating because the dice that you've mentioned, they were changing a lot of they were changing the balance of the game at some time, and they have nifty little perks here and there that uh, you know can take you by surprise, like a minus the charge here, or no perils on fire series or something like that. Stuff that you would count that would help you during the game as an opponent, but it's not there because Eldar just have a mechanic that denies it or something like that. So as I said, mildly infuriating, but definitely I didn't feel overpowered. But now,
I would
mhm,
say that the strands as a mechanic, I've read that one.
mhm,
There's that. Strands as a mechanic feel obviously stronger than miracle dices, but how powerful miracles were previously, uh, with how much power creep we've got in last few releases, I think the strands are actually kind of fine, and
mhm,
I really like them because they let you to plan your whole turn and kinda do stuff accordingly. And it's not like in build that in Sisters you always knew that in 2 turns you would have like 8 dice generated, so you'd have that charge on 12. You don't really know that with strands. Like you might not get that dice. And I actually kind of like it because it makes you adapt on a turn to turn basis what you will do, which I think lately the game was kind of lacking. That you kind of knew what was happening, and most of the games were very similar to each other. So I like that in the sense that a better player will use the strands better, and even singular invul on 6 that you know that you will be able to pass can turn the game around because you know that opponent will, for example, have to overuse I don't know
Overcommit.
Thank you.
Overcommit, yes, thank you. So opponent will have to overcommit to killing one unit because they know that if the first, let's say, Darklands fails, then the second would fail because you would pass that 6+ invul. Then they would have to overcommit. So I like the mechanic as a mechanic. I don't know what's your take, Vladdy.
Well, it's simple. It's a very powerful mechanic. It's a extremely for a competitive player. This is what actually the Strands of Fate are the rule that got me back to playing this game, and like this month or two, especially on TTS, as I've been attending big tournaments, but I stopped playing on TTS, and with that mechanic, that got me back because this is a mechanic that is perfect, that is designed and destined to be good in good players' hands, because as you said, as you mentioned, it lets you plan to turn, and it mitigates most of randomness you can meet while playing your turn. If you want a decent a sure charge, because that you need, you can roll automatic 6 on advance and then automatic 6 on charge. That lets you plan the whole turn without any risk. You can get an automatic pass of psychic test, so that you can get +2 to charge, and then you can get automatic 6 on charge. This gives you an automatic +8 to charge, which gives you an automatic charge from reserves. Automatic is the word you are looking for when you are a competitive player. So basically, this is perfect, and it's a extremely turbo powerful mechanic, especially in good hands of good player. And the fact that it seems balanced shows where the game is now. Because like half a year ago, if any army would get such a mechanic, it would be considered a complete open bullshit. And now it just is considered, okay, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I like it. It doesn't seem that much, but it's okay. Right?
Yeah.
So let's be honest, this is extremely good. But with what we are meeting now with Tau, with Custodes, with New Harlequins, it doesn't seem, too overpowered.
Yeah, everything needs a context. So
I played, especially if you consider that it is the army-wide rule for Eldars, the only one. Dark Eldars at the same time get 6+ own save on first turn, charge and advance on second with whole army, +1 to hit on whole army in third turn. This is big too. So you have like 4 dices to overcome that. So with where the game went in last a year or two, this doesn't seem overpowered, but at the same time, it is extremely useful. This is a very that is the rule that makes the difference. The codex.
I think it's like miracle dices on steroids.
yeah, exactly.
Just remember, just for example, take a second to reflect on it. Like when the new sisters came in, the miracle dice system was nerfed because it was widely considered too much. When as Typhus said, when on the second turn, sister players had like 8-7 dices on his hand that he could use anytime any way he wanted. And it was nerfed. You can't get that much of dices now with Sister Codex, and you have a variety of them. You have 1s, you have 2s, you have 6s, right? And now you get a mechanic that gives you from 4 to 5 automatic systems of the 6s, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. No, automatic 6s on any dice, and we don't consider that overpowered now. Come on, this is So as I said, it's a terribly good mechanic, and this is at the same time with how much this will with this power creep, now power rush, it doesn't seem, you know, too much. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like too much.
Okay. And what about the other thing that they showcased on Warhammer Community that at least in in our local chat caused quite a significant discussion. Battle focus. I played against Joker yesterday. Joker, I can't remember you using that at all. Like, did you forget, or is it just not that useful?
That is actually a completely marginal rule, because you can't use it when you advance, and most of shooting units do not have that rule. For example, Dark Reapers are very expensive, and there are, well, they have still a decent damage output in shooting, but they do not have this rule, and they would use it. It would be perfect for them, and they don't have it. No vehicles, no constructs have it. Because of that, actually, it is useful only for a single unit in the codex. There's only one unit in the codex that is actually for which that rule actually proves to be useful, and these are scat bikes. Scat bikes, for scat bikes, this is actually a good rule. You can move to the line of sight and then jump back after you're shooting behind lost blocking terrain. Though you have to remember that when you go through area terrain of any kind, you get -3 to that roll. So basically, you don't make the move if you get through terrain. So you have to, you know, think for a second about what you want to do before you make the battle focus move. But this is basically the only unit that really uses that rule in the codex that I looked at.
Okay. What about all the other thingies that we get normally in the codex? How about the relics? Have the relics changed in any way? Are there any new ones, or are there the old ones?
If you make me talk about relics and specifics,
any standouts? I'm not talking about
we
the
will
entire.
spend here a whole night, and we'll talk. And we have Harley's cover, and I have a lot of, I want to express myself about Harley's. So, and you're stopping me from doing that. I'm just, anxious to skip the Craftworlds topic altogether and get to Harley's, because I want to say some bad things.
Very colorful words.
Who created it, right?
Okay. So your wish is granted then.
In short, relics are good. There are some useful options, but they are not overpowered. There is nothing that stands out. There are some useful options. In my list, I use 2, so I buy another one that shows that it's not completely useless. I basically play Bieltan for the moment. I don't play Ultra. I play Bieltan. I take Bieltan Relic that gives you real to psychic powers, and gives you another. You can choose another psychic power for your psyker. This is a powerful toolkit for the Farseer. He gets 2. He can pick 2 powers, and for 1 CP he can use all 3 powers, and he has 1 reroll. So you can give this relic to your powerhouse Farseer that has all the important spells that needs to get that you want to get on. So it's a useful thing. And another one I take for now, I take Phoenix Gem on another Farseer because I play him more aggressively. He has Doom. He has the power that gives you +2 to charge, and that has limited range. So he plays more forward, and so I want to protect him for further turns. So I give him Phoenix Gems that allows him to get back from being dead onto glass. From what I just heard, I think Joker uses another relic that allows him to keep 1 dice, 1 Strand of Fate dice more. So there are a few relics that are useful. You have to look through it. I didn't find any damage dealing relic that I would consider interesting competitively.
Mhm.
But those toolkit relics that are in the codex seem fair. Not all are very useful, but there is a number of them to choose from.
Okay.
Don't
Yes.
worry,
Support-
don't worry.
support.
Harleys have damage relics. Don't worry.
All right. So
Yeah,
I
like
want
Vladdi
I-
mentioned,
I
I've
fucking know.
Joker.
yeah, so like Vladdi mentioned, I've been using the Weeping Stones, so that gives you the ability to roll one more Strands of Fate dice. And I've been using the Ulfway specific one, which is very similar to the Bieltan one, which basically gives you another power. And if you roll a 9+, then the power being cast is undeniable. So yeah,
Okay.
there is some utility in,
Yeah,
in
so-
those.
So there are
the support
so
stuff.
you see there are two different lists and for two different relics in each. So you can see that there are options to choose from.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wanted to ask you one more question about missions in the codex, but I think we can forego that. We can skip that. And
Actually, I prefer not. A very short note on that. Craftworlds have very easy to do, very good secondaries in the codex
Mhm.
that are ridiculously easy to do, that are completely very. Actually, this is, I think, one of the most overpowered pieces of the book. In general, Craftworlds have easy to do secondaries that are ridiculous. So if you look at the secondaries in different codex, this is the big advantage for Craftworlds.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
Don't worry, Harleys have a even better secondary.
I can
Okay,
sense that
okay.
you just cannot wait. You're sitting on like
No,
pins and needles.
I'm, you got a foreshadow.
Yeah, you see,
Yeah.
we agreed to this podcast so we can whine about how stupidly good Harlequins are.
And I told you
whoever
that you will
did
have.
that to us, whoever did this to Meta is a moron. Okay,
Right. All right. I think
I
we
won't
opened
jump
the
to that.
Pandora's box. So who wants to go first?
I want to preface it with one thing. I remember, like, after Drukari and Admech, I said that meta, whether Harlequins will be on top of the meta, will be great because it will be very skillful. I fucking take that back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
I lied. I
You did
jinxed.
this.
No. Like, I don't want this. Like, I've played 3 games, and God,
So just to make a statement at the first, let's say the Hurricanes are overpowered. They're stupidly good. There are point and click armies. So I mean, you point at the enemy and he dies, and he can do shit to you. Okay, now go on.
yeah, I played some games with the racks with liquefiers in March or April year ago, and that army feels soft and very cuddly compared to what I've did the last few days. Like, no, like I even
Lost
lack
for words.
words. I'm lost for words because who the fuck thought that giving your whole army fighting on death is a great idea?
Jesus Christ, that is so stupid.
Like, why? Please,
Jesus Christ,
janitor,
you
next
you
time.
fucking you change aberrants so they do not fight after death because they were so stupidly overpowered, and now you're giving it to a whole army. What a fucking moron you are! Who the fuck you are? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, and that's only the top of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much wrong with this army. Like,
Yeah, enlighten us.
I played three games so far, and I played all of them completely brain dead aggression just to see how it works on the table. Because I prefer first games when I play an army to play completely aggressively to estimate how much can I play like this moving forward. And I tabled Castos by turn 2 basically. And Castos are one of those armies that don't really die if you haven't noticed so far. And Necrons, oh my god, poor Necrons. And GSC,
Wait,
yeah,
you tabled them in third turn, so they won't pick up the fight. Come on.
yeah,
They were tough.
yeah, like to give you like, I won't delve into like specific rules and explain why it's utterly broken, but one turn of shooting of 10 bikes in Custodes, charge of 6 bikes, shooting of 2 dreadnoughts, some charges of a captain, killed 1 boat.
And just to be clear, it wasn't against some random guys. This is our best Necron in country, and in our country, in Poland, that means something. So he's a top player. He would be considered a top player worldwide, and he was like a child in a fog against those Harlequins. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I can't do anything. Like literally, I didn't feel it like this. Like when I see a new army, I cannot really estimate how strong it is until I play it. And oh boy, I was wrong when I was skeptical about Harleys. Like with how much you get with nearly unkillable characters, nearly unkillable boats, and you can easily charge 30 inches away into your opponent's deployment zone with those characters. And oh well, you fight on death, right? So you might charge 2 characters at once. One will kill 1 unit, the other will get counter-offensive. I mean, the interrupted,
You will still
and
take
then
down.
it will fight on death and kill that unit anyway. And
Nice.
you just
fucking
killed
stupid.
2 crucial units in first turn without any sweat. Like first turn, I decided, yeah, I'll throw that solitary into Necrons, and I killed 7 Wraiths. And it's like, yeah, that was surely fun for my opponent, right? And then he needed to expend like few units of shooting, falling back everything into very uncomfortable spots on the board, because I could obviously chase him because I still got that stratagem. And even then, he needed to charge it with something, because after shooting like 9 Tomb Blades, some destroyers, etc., he still lived on 1 wound. He then charged, and he basically had to overextend so much while not playing the game correctly. Not in a sense that Gito played it wrong. It's just it didn't give him space to do so. And it was like one model that just came up within his army,
One
and he was
fucking model for 100 points. Come on, for God's sake.
like, I've played Drukari for like past few months, and their characters are wet noodles. Like,
Oh, they're okay, but Harlequins are better. And
compared,
you read a lot of whining about beaches, about drug czars, and come on, they are good, but Harlequins are better. So, well, we will hear
yeah,
a lot of
because
whining about them.
yeah,
in the
Drazar
final
can
count.
only charge turn 2, right? And he doesn't ignore invulns. Well, Harleys
Jesus.
can charge turn 1 and ignore invulns. So to make it better,
Just to make it clear, the guy has 10 attacks. He can charge anything because he's a small infantry model with a lot of discharge distance. He
and
has 10
ignores
attacks,
models.
strength, ignores models, strength 6 -3, 3 damage if he wants, and ignores invulnerable saves. And he got rerolls because you have a handful of rerolls. So if you want to kill something, it will die.
It is
And
basically like,
defensively, he has 3+ invulnerable save.
and
Jesus.
ignoring rerolls, -2 to hit, and all that jazz. So
Obviously, stupid me. No fucking rerolls and -2 to hit. Yeah,
yeah, because that's balanced.
because he's for 100 points. 100 fucking points.
Yeah, like there's so many rules stacked on top of these units, and it's like, even if you do not play against this version of Harleys that fights on death, because I guess some people will soup Harleys into like Drukari or Craftworlds, they will take another mask that has very 2 balanced rules that I love as well. First of all, they can be from light mask, And they will also have transhuman on hit rolls to make it even more fun. But
Yeah,
if
and
it's not enough, when you charge them for 1 CP, they can fall back, move 6 inches away from you, so you will not be able to charge.
Oh, that
Great
sounds so
design.
fun.
yeah,
So
and we
fun.
didn't even get to Void Weavers.
Yeah,
Be my
wow.
guest.
Yeah, we are like at the half of the iceberg. There's more. You wanna go on, Vladdy? I think you love
Well,
Void Weavers.
it's extremely simple. Whoever thought it's a good thing, good idea, to make price in points a unit that disallows rerolls to hit, gives you automatic -1 to hit, has 4+ invulnerable save, and have 2 better dark lances and a lot of Daka shuriken cannon shots, and whoever priced it on 90 points, considering that is the price of Orc
Last Cannon Chicken in
bug or Last Cannon Chicken, that is on every fucking aspect, every fucking aspect, 2 or 3 times worse than this model. Whoever thought it's a good thing, it's a good idea to make it 90 points is an idiot, is a moron. Is a fucking moron. This is an entry that should be fucked. It should be given the first day fuck to increase it points to 120.
But surely it was play tested.
Yeah, I should fucking play test.
Yeah, 3 years ago, as Tau was.
Don't get
Tau
me
was
started.
play tested 3 years ago. Like, that's yeah. As you can tell, we have no salt in our veins. We are very positive Polish people.
Yeah, very positive. Yeah,
It was play tested, but by no one who actually had 9 Void Weavers.
But we calculated the model points, but oh man, we are bad at maths. Right?
the only in brackets bad thing about this unit is that it have no access to reels to hit. So basically, on the WTC tables, in most cases, it shoots you on 4+, but it has a lot of shots.
Literally unplayable.
And this is and it is extremely durable. So basically, even if you have a bad round of shooting, because even though you have a lot of shots, because you hit on 4+ with no reels, then it doesn't matter because your opponent can get back to you with damage. So you get another round of shots, and at some point you will start hitting on those 4+ and destroy your opponent utterly. Jesus, seriously.
Yeah, like they're like the strength of Harleys is in those characters and Void Weavers. Like troops are obviously good as well, but like compared to those units, they are they do not have rerolls to wound. They do not have +1 to wound. They rely on mortal wounds, which they deal a shit ton of as well. So there's that.
In case anyone was wondering.
And if you want to kill them, they will fight you on death and kill you. So there's that as well. But like that unit, like troop unit itself, isn't that bad when you consider it playing. But all the rules that stack, they are obscene. Like imagine having a rule that gives additional AP in combat and fighting on death for any other army in the game.
So basically, Void Weaver is at this moment the most durable thing in the game.
Star Weaver is 10 points cheaper.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Cool.
I needed to correct you on that.
Thank you for that. So basically, those boats are the most durable things in the game now, and this is funny. Come on, this is funny. These are open-top boats, and they are more durable than heavy armored Marines counterparts. So, but this is a general trend. We talked about it in our community. This is a general trend. If something fluff-wise is built of shit or I don't know, paper,
cardboard.
You can be pretty sure Games Workshop will make it more durable and tougher than heavy armored vehicles. You can be sure of it.
Like Ramshackle
Ramshackle
or
gives you -1 to damage.
rough build of those.
Another
trucks.
Ramshackle in Gensteel Codes gives you -1 to damage. So basically, if you are built of shit, you'll be tough in this game. And if you are in a fluff, a heavy armored vehicle, you'll be easy to destroy. It makes sense. I don't know, for someone, obviously, not for me, but I don't know. I'm lost for words.
Okay, so tell me this. Does it even make sense to mix those armies now? I mean, Soup, Eldar, and Harlequins,
Well, I definitely will. Well, I will definitely.
I mean, depends. From Harlequin standpoint, no.
Yeah.
From Craftworlds, yeah, I will definitely take that solitaire into my army because he can do all that we said without any relic because he doesn't have access to, and without any trait because he doesn't have access to. So basically, he only needs himself to do all that crazy shit we told you about. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. How about the practical use of those things? How about the amount of CPs that the army burns at the beginning?
That's another great topic. Yes, I love that. So notoriously, Harley struggled with CP. The army needed a lot of CP, but there's one great thing about needing CP. If your opponent is dead by turn 2, you do not need any CP more.
You can burn them in 2 turns. And if you combo them with Craft of Eldars, you can always get a guy who gives you 1 additional CP per turn, just like that.
And obviously, to make it more actually constructive, like this army, you don't need to buy any additional traits and relics. You can stick with 1 Troop Master, 1 Shadow Seer, and 1 Solitaire. And you don't need to buy anything more than just the regular trait and relic. You can spend 1 CP to buy additional trait on the Troop Master because he can have 2, like the Tyrants in all the Swarm Leaders, big beasts in Tyrants can. But so you basically start with 12 CP, or if you feel fancy, you start with 11. And that's plenty enough. Because another great thing. Yeah, we talked about fighting on death on the whole army, right? There's also one great thing when your whole army can heroically intervene 6 inches. That's also great design. Especially if those models that just heroically intervened into a charging unit, in that heroic intervention, deal on average 5 mortals, and then if you strike them, they fight you on death and kill you. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very interactive and fun.
So in our pre-show conversation before Joker joined, I did ask this question, but maybe it's worth reiterating in English. The power of the codex or power of an army is usually measured in a context. So in and against the existing armies, the top armies right now. So the top armies right now, you've mentioned Custodes already and that you wrecked them. But then we have Tau, we have Stampede.
Poor fishes.
So yeah, tell me about that. I don't know if you played that, but tell me about your prediction. What
I spoke a little bit about that with Pumbaa. And it will surely be fun if you had 2 heroes that charge through any of your screens, have stratagem to ignore Overwatch, and then if you try to fall back, they will actually catch you by consolidating, so you cannot shoot. But yeah, that might not be enough. So also you might have -6 to range to their shooting, while also outranging them with your boats. That at the same time always cause your broadsides or anything, if you have any forests, craters, anything, to shoot you on 5 without rerolls. It's fun.
It's basically you can only say, yeah, you will have Tau without reels. Dot. that's the end.
Yeah,
of the
That
pretty
sentence.
hits on 5s. Or if
Ah,
they have
ah,
ballistic skill of 3+, then on 4s.
yeah, so there's that, and that's it. Basically, it sits very well in the meta, and it has a favorable pairing against Custo, both Custo and Tau. So
And how about Stampede with, damage reduction, high toughness?
we'll see.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
we'll play on Tuesday. I think like Stampede as one of few armies can actually play into that.
I'm not that convinced, but we'll check it out.
Yeah, probably we'll see and then have a conclusion that we don't want to play that game anymore, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
And take another break from
We'll just. I will be playing Harleys. You will be playing Stampede, and we will be both complaining about Harleys. That sounds
Yeah,
like a great evening.
That may be the case. Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. Trying to think if there is a point in asking any other questions right now.
No.
Done?
There might be armies that I would be actually interested to at least see whether they can play into Harleys, because I can imagine maybe Thousand Sons or army that relies on heavy mortal wounds output to fare well, but more like way better. But at the same time, whenever I think about that, then I think about that solitaire that ignores invuls and charges your Terminators and kills half of the squad before you strike back. And I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for
not going to work.
It's not like this is a totally unbeatable army. It still has 4+ invulnerable save, and the may struggle with tons of multiple short units. But this is, I think, this is at this moment the best you can get in the game. So every other army will struggle against it. As I said, most of top armies will have something to be able to fight with against those Harleys armies, but it will be like pressing a rock against the hill, pushing a rock against the hill. It's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, you will basically need to rely on them failing that 4-up rerollable invul on a crucial model, and it will always feel like you're playing against the odds.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because the army, like playing against Castos right now, is a feels bad moment because you rely on, I don't know, rerolls to make sure that those 5 attacks actually do something, or you rely on high strength, etc. And same with Harleys, like you have an army that relies on good hitting, good shooting. Nah, man, no, not really. Oh, you have high volume of small arms fire. Well, if they give troops core, you cannot target them anymore because there's a small spell that says like, no, you cannot shoot that unit. So I'm looking forward to it, to see how much I want the army to get nerfed as soon as possible, so I can actually take it out of my cupboard and actually play it without feeling guilty.
Without think bad about yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you've mentioned the Thousand Sons might be a counter. How about Grey Knights?
They don't have that. No, they don't have the same amount of mortal wounds.
Well, it's not even about mortal ones. They simply get out of the table quicker, much quicker. Because they are Space Marines with Red Knights, basically, those Harlequins have all the tools to just wipe them out of the face of Earth. Perfect statistics, perfect profiles to kill all.
Yeah, that's one of the pairings that you having strength 4 or a strength 3 with high AP without any rerolls or pluses to hit, pluses to wound doesn't really hurt you because of your volume of attacks.
No, but honestly, that to some extent is also true against against Thousand Suns.
Yes.
So I just think that it's easier against Knights because they are defensively worse, and those things that are defensively better are Dread Knights, who die quicker from those anti-vehicle weapons.
Yeah,
So,
because they have strength 12, so they want them onto plus.
so
Because
they want them to
that's
plus,
great.
and they just take them to invulnerable save. And if the Dread Knights are able to roll constantly 4+ without any stop for 2 turns, and we have those players in our community that can do that, then they do have a chance. But if they start rolling normally, they will get out of the table quickly.
Okay.
I think some Drukhari lists will be able to tackle Harlequins as well, because Harlequins will have some issues, for example, killing grotesques that are unshootable behind a wall.
Or 170 racks.
No, that
That's
they
easy.
will. No, that's easy. Mate, have you heard our ranting about Void Weavers? They also have 3D free shots with blast.
It's not like a different weapon. It's a different weapon profile from the same weapon.
Yeah. Like, don't worry, mate. We've got you covered.
So I'm just trying to come up with something. How about Knights or Renegade Knights?
Oh boy, no.
Yeah, you
So
have no
bad.
rerolls, so basically you shoot them with no rerolls against 4+ invulnerable save, and you are met back with a lot of lances shooting you back. So yeah, that's gonna work.
And every time you try to kill a troop in close combat, another troop will come in, deal you like 11 mortal wounds, and then just go forward.
Well, as I
Oh,
said
okay.
before,
Yeah.
it's not like you don't have any options. I'm quite sure that if I take any of those armies you mentioned, and if I play against the Harlequin army played by some, not top players, I will probably get that victory. And it goes for every good player, every top player. But as I said, it's a struggle with almost, I think, every army in the game now. It will be a struggle against Harlequins. It's whoever you're gonna play, even it's a player that it's much weaker than you. You will still be a bit afraid of this pairing because how much powerful this army is.
Mm,
Because
What do
we,
you,
we were saying about all those things about those pairings that Hurricanes have an advantage, like it's a sure win. Well, it is not, but if Harlequins have all the tools to deal with all those armies, while those armies can struggle a bit against those Harlequins. That's what we're saying.
mhm. The
Like,
last,
I see myself losing games on like few unfortunate rolls with Harleys, but it's not gonna happen as often with those rerolls.
I would like to see you actually play Danny and his GSC. That would be an
Yeah,
interesting.
I tabled him like turn 2.
Oh, never mind. That was easy.
But he went
Uh,
first, so he killed some
yeah,
models.
okay. So he slowed you down a little bit.
No, I'm over exaggerating a bit, but like it was over by turn 2. So yeah, it's like GSC relies on killing units and then forcing you to actually extend a bit to kill those units. You don't need to extend that much into GSC, but like when your whole army fights on death and you just kill a unit of Harleys, or you don't even kill it because they have 4+
The
invul.
basic problem with Chancellor cards is that fight on death.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be able to win that pairing, the only possible combination is if you kill shooting Harlequin units with your close combat and kill all the close combat units with your shooting. If in the process of the game something goes in a different direction, then it's gonna be a terrible struggle. Because if you wanna fight those fighting units with your units, then maybe you'll inflict damage, but you'll die in the process. So
And you
it's
might
only-
not even kill that unit.
It is
Like
yeah. You might not
10
kill,
man
and you
pure
will,
strains.
and you
with
will
all-
die. So it's
Like-
always
like
a
I put-
trade.
Mhm.
Like I played against Danny and like 10 man pure strain from Helix with their spell and
So basically,
Might
if
from
I-
Beyond killed like 7 players and they fought on death, killed 6 Gene Stealers, and I
So
still had
basically,
3 players alive.
If
Hmm.
I was to play Gen Stealers against Harlequins, then I will shoot only close combat units, troops, and I will try to get into close combat with boats with my close combat units. And it would be the only option to win the game, the only one. If something goes wrong and the game forces me to charge close combat units with my close combat units, then it's game over. It would be difficult to come back from that.
Okay. Did the
And yes,
Harlequins-
because
yeah.
obviously, if you want to tag Void Weavers, it's worth mentioning that they've got fallback and shoot strat now, right?
Yeah, like all others, yeah.
Did the Harlequins, because I haven't had the chance to like skim through the book, did they get their own missions as well?
Oh yeah, obviously a great one, because usually when you get a new good mission is like herd the prey
Mhm.
or something that's already competing against Stranglehold, Engage, etc. But no, Harley's actually got a great mission that's in the same bracket that as To the Last and No Prisoners. And you might take No Prisoners against Necrons, obviously, but against some armies you wouldn't. But that mission is really dumb as well, because it's basically hold an objective you didn't hold, and either kill 2 units in shooting, which you do with Void Weavers, or kill 3 units in combat, which you do with your characters and the troops, or have a unit in opponent's deployment zone, which you do with any character that slingshots 30 inches from your deployment zone. So, yeah,
And-
it's another
and
dumb
you get-
mission.
And you get how much point per turn for that?
Free.
So easy.
And you do it at the end of your turn. So,
So basically,
yeah,
you have four different secondaries in one, and you can do alternatively one of them to score 3 points.
you need to do 2 out of 4. So,
2 out of 4. Okay.
2 out of 4. But
Yeah. So
you still do it. Maybe sometimes you won't do it on your first turn because you don't want to use that character to kill something in close combat, but that's about it.
that's cool. That's nice. Very
So
balanced.
essentially any
this is-
Harley list will play that secondary, engage or strangle, and then because you can now run away with your shadow sphere because of CT, you can cast a mental interrogation or ritual and then fall back, move 8 plus d6 inches back. I think there will be a third secondary played as a psychic one against
Nice.
armies that can deny that.
This is the most play-tested edition ever. It cannot be a
And-
mistake.
I wouldn't say I would prefer 7th to this, late 7th.
No,
But
no, definitely
it's-
No,
not.
no.
Not
Please,
yet.
no. 8th edition, the end of 8th edition. That was when the game was the best place in the last few years.
Yeah, and I think we even had a discussion today on Discord, in our community Discord, that like pre-Dark Eldar,
Yeah, pretty dark.
9th was pretty good. We played a lot of team comps back then, and it was actually pretty fun. There was a lot of viable options. And then it started going downhill real fast.
Real fast, yeah. Now it's like getting. It's falling down screaming. Come on.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right,
like
so-
you
Mhm.
you remember people complaining about AdMech? Yeah, that was 9 months ago.
Right. So, some important questions still, I think, although you've made the conversation pretty, I would say, biased. But
What the
is
fuck that means? Why bias? We are completely unbiased. We are so blatantly true with you. We are saying the things that we're not bound by some agreements in Games Workshop to say some idiotic good things about it. We're telling you how it is.
okay? Bias was the wrong word. Maybe
Completely
one-sided.
unbiased.
And we even haven't talked about that webway gate that we cannot field in WTC setting, that's also fucking bonkers. So that's another thing that is out of the question for us, at least.
So yeah, you touched upon the topic that I wanted to get to. Do we already have a clarification from WTC on how we field those armies and how this codex is treated?
Yeah.
I
So-
mean, does taking Craftworld Eldar lock you out of Harlequins and vice versa, or is that not clarified yet?
Typhus.
Okay,
Come
so it has been clarified by Tom that that's how we will be going forward with it. So you either take one or the other, or you take some kind of soup. So yeah,
So you
so
can't
you
have.
won't see that many Craftworld Eldar, I think.
Yeah, because well, Harlequins will eat everything up.
Unless they get a
swallow everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
While
so
dancing,
one codex per team is the rule. So you can't have both Corruptor and Harlequins played by two players in the team. No,
So what do you think about that ruling?
I think it's okay. I do think I don't like it in the on the level of variety. Because these are different units and these are different statistics, different profiles, different armies. But on the same time, at the same time, they share a lot, stratagems, a lot of rules in the codex, and it kind of makes sense to disallow them to be used by two different players, especially if you realize that all the Space Marine variants that got their supplements are also subject to this rule, and you can only have one Space Marines, even though they have a lot of different rules.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to cling on to that topic a little bit. Typhus, when you are going to be arranging sparrings on TTS, for example, with like international sparrings, will you enforce that rule as well, or will you, ask people to have the possibility to use both Craftworld and Harlequins?
So you're asking questions as if you already know the answer.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way. Yeah.
So the idea is that for the first pairings that we want to test out those armies, I would ask people to play those armies separately. So just for the sake of testing things out. So we would get more intel, and I think any team that plays with us we will be kind of glad about it, because they will get the same intel, they will see the games, they will get more information. But when we will get closer to the event, first of all, I don't know if we will play more pairings or whether we'll want more secrecy in what we field. So, but if not, we'll obviously try to enforce the as clear rules about as WTC does, so we will get more meaningful games in.
Yeah. Okay. And with that, I think I'm out of questions. Is there anything else, guys, that you want to talk about or touch upon before we wrap this up?
I'm petrified what Tyrannies will look like after.
Yes. Jenny's minds think the same. This is exactly what I wanted to say. So, I want to say that if we want to end with something optimistic, we can say that there are Tyrannies coming in a month, and if only take those into consideration, those data sheets that surface on the internet, we can be pretty sure that Tyrannies are gonna eat everything up, will destroy the universe, and there's gonna be no point playing the game after the Tyrannies come out, because they will eat everything. So
yeah, so them fighting.
That is the optimistic thought.
The World Devourer will be back.
Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to say that them fighting Harlequins will be like the unstoppable object hitting the immovable thing.
Something like that,
yeah, it will be interesting.
Don't bother buying those 9 boats quite yet.
Yeah,
especially obviously if Stampede rules are gonna be still in effect when after the codex. Then we have a new codex with new profiles and Stampede rules. Then I personally think the world will end. It is gonna be at the end times, things like that. Game over.
Yeah, but we still don't have all the codexes, right? We still missed on guard, and I don't know.
We'll probably get another Space Marine Codex before we get guard. Like,
And chaos. Mhm.
Okay, Space Marines, that is so fucking ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, I'll wrap this up. I think you ranted for long enough. Um,
but I
and
hope it was at least
Thank you.
fun.
oh
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you.
you know,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed myself.
yeah, I wanted to say I
listening
wrote
to
to
that.
Joker in the chat in the background, and I said something along the lines like, if you have any other questions, then shoot. And he's like, no, I'm enjoying this too much. So yeah, me too. Now to our listeners, if all the planets align and if everything is fine, next week we will have Fred from the German national team coming along, and he will give us his take on the current state of the meta and what the German national team is currently looking for and looking at and what they are testing. So make sure that you tune in because I'm definitely going to try to make it an interesting episode. And yeah, thank you
Well,
to our
so
guests. Yeah,
you have Fred coming over.
yeah, I'll have
That's
the
that's it.
German intel here.
Oh, so we will prepare questions for you. So
You can come
we
along.
have we need some information from him about Germany. So
You can come
yeah,
along. So you know, the more the merrier.
it's good that you're telling us that.
Yep, that's the plan. We'll see. As I said, if the planets align, that will probably happen next week. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. It was very entertaining to listen to you.
It was a pleasure, a very
Yeah, whining and
specific pleasure, but
complaining.
still a pleasure.
Yeah,
It's
we're the platform
what
for
we
you.
were born to do.
Awesome.
That
Yeah.
was-
Just playing into our stereotypes of the nationality is what we love.
it's not a stereotype.
Yeah, clearly it's not.
Yeah, it's just realistic approach. All right, to all our listeners, if you liked what you've heard, make sure that you like and subscribe. You show us your appreciation in YouTube, in Facebook, in the other social media that we are in, Instagram, you name it. And yeah, tune in for the next episode because it's going to be an interesting ride as well. Thank you, everyone, and until next time.
Cheers.